So the way this is going to work today, I'm just going to make a few introductory remarks here, then we'll get into our program, which I'll explain in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to give some acknowledgement to some of the people who really worked to pull this program together for us today. We have our executive director, Justin Aquinas. Justin, back there, raise your hand. Thank you. And there are several people at the front desk that I'm sure you all met. There's V. Tran. She's our administrative, what do we call that?
Office manager.
Office manager. She's just absolutely terrific. If you call into the office, chances are you will get to her first. She knows about as much as anybody knows about how to direct you to get help, find or get help. We also have several other people up front. One is Ann Nguyen, and the other is Donna Labanga. And they're just terrific people. They've been helping us out for years, and if you see them, thank them for their work. The next thing I want to do is I want to acknowledge our board of directors. Am I still on here? I can't hear myself. All right. The chairman of our medical advisory board is Duane, and I know I saw him here.
He's here.
Oh, here he is, right there. And he's going to be taking over for me and being the moderator for our morning session today. So you'll see him in just a minute after I finish up here. I also want to acknowledge our Vice President Diane Truong, who's been a very long time involved with the NSTA. In fact, we're here because of all the great work she did in the late 90s when she took over the organization. She's not here with us today. She's still over. Is she in Barcelona?
She's in Barcelona.
In Barcelona for another meeting today. And some of our other executive board of director members, Janelle Lazo, I know she's here. Janelle. Nancy Lajerski. All right. I also might point out that her husband is Jim Lajerski. He's not on our board of directors, but he has been for many years in the past. He's with her today. Thank you. Sandra Levine, are you here, Sandra? There you are over there. Thank you. Lloyd Ritter, I saw Lloyd here. So there he is in the back. Thank you, Lloyd. And finally, I want to talk about our Emeritus President, Bob Farmer. And Bob, you were sitting...
Right here.
He just walked out. Great, I was going to thank him. Let me tell you a little bit about Bob. He's been president of the organization. He's been heavily involved in the organization for a long time. Bob is retired, but he had a long career working in television, and that's been a huge help to us because we have a public service announcement that we try to run around the country. It's a very expensive thing to do, and he finds services that we can get a public service announcement presented on various stations around the country, either for free or for a very, very reasonable cost. And that's a tremendous benefit to our organization. So I want to thank him for that. I also want to talk about that public service announcement that we had. We had it produced quite some years ago, about a decade ago. It features actress Delta Burke. Have any of you here seen that public service announcement? A number of people have, okay. Well, as you may know, about a year ago, she passed away. And so we were very concerned about using that public service announcement continuing after she passed away. So she was married to actor Hal Holbrook. So we contacted, not Hal Holbrook directly, but his assistant, and made a request that we continue using it for the rest of the year leading up to this symposium here. And he was very kind and said, yeah, go ahead and use it because he knew how important this organization was to Ms. Burke. So we appreciate him for that. So when Bob comes in, he hasn't come in yet, has he? No, I guess not. So I'll point him out to you. I really want him to be acknowledged in this. Okay, with that, I am going to now turn this over to Dr. Duane. And one comment that I have for you is that as we go through our presentations this morning, we have a lot, and I'm going to ask that you not ask questions, just make a note on your paper or something. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have a medical advisory panel at the end of the morning up here, where all of our speakers will be up here, and then we'll try to answer all the questions at that time. Okay. So, Dr. Duane. Thank you.
In the time that you've been our president, following the footsteps of Bob and all the stuff that he's done for us. I just got in late last night from Barcelona, Spain, where the International Dystonia meeting was being conducted, and our Diane Truong was there and was very active with the Dystonia Coalition, so that NSTA is represented with all the other major patient support organizations with regards to collaboration in hopes that we will find someday a cure or prevention for all forms of dystonia. Our program this morning, I think, is well balanced, and you're going to hear from people who are well informed about each of the topics we're going to hear about. The first one is going to be Dr. Mark Patak, who's going to be talking about the use of oral medications. And although all of us believe that botulinum toxins are the most effective form of treatment for cervical forms of dystonia, there are patients who sometimes get moderate relief in association with the use of oral medications. What those medications might be, or how we might use them as the effects of the toxin are wearing off, we want to give patients relief before the next injection of toxin, is a reasonable consideration. He'll be followed by a representative from manufacturers of MyoBlock, Dr. Robert Chinapong, who will be speaking to us about that product, which is different in its structure from the A forms of botulinum toxin. There'll be a little coffee break for us, and then Dr. Devin Binder is going to be talking to us about one of the hottest topics in dystonia at the current time, and that is the use of deep brain stimulation in order to control involuntary movement disorders. Been used for a long time with regards to Parkinson's disease, very helpful with regards to various forms of tremor, and increasingly being recommended for refractory forms, meaning no longer responsive to toxin or oral medication, various forms of dystonia that may benefit from deep brain stimulation. My longtime, you can't ever say an old friend. You can say my longtime friend, Carlos Arce, will be presenting to us about the Bertrand procedure that he has mastered and has operated on so many patients over the years, and used this very useful technique for those patients who qualify for selective denervation surgery. I'm going to say a few things about some of the topics that were discussed in Barcelona and some recent work we've done with regards to determining if patients are or are not still responsive to botulinum toxin. Then we'll have our panel discussion where all of those 4 representatives and I will be available. The representing Allergan will be Elaine Treichel, who is a doctor of pharmacy. Representing Ipsen will be Dr. Jean Hubble. We have a history background where we share a friendship with the former chairman of neurology at Ohio State University. That's a tough thing for a guy who went to the University of Michigan to say.
Go Bucks.
And then representing Merz, Stephanie Kelly will be representing the Merz Corporation at our get-together this midday. So it's going to be a busy morning, but an exciting one. Anytime you have to take a break, switch positions, do so. We know that prolonged sitting for anybody can be uncomfortable, and no one's going to be offended by that, not the speakers, not your colleagues in the audience. So make sure you feel comfortable, and anytime we need to take an additional break, we're happy to do that as well. But Patrick, let's get started and talk about oral medications in the treatment of cervical dystonia.